Well, congratulations for coming on inside for this video. Now, this is the first part of a two-part video. Today's video is just over an hour, but tomorrow you're going to have access to the second half. You really need to see them both to use the system fully, but by the end of today's video you'll already start to realise just how much money you really can be making from hypnosis and the skills that we've been teaching you during the week, and that you can learn from my book, Confessions of a Hypnotist, that if you've not already downloaded it for free, you'll be able to do at the end of this video. Watch the video, take note, whatever business you're in, this marketing strategy, certainly anything in the alternative complementary therapy industry, can work absolute wonders for your business. Enjoy.
So, we are about time to start, as it were. Today is supposed to be about therapy, tomorrow is supposed to be about how to hypnotise people. Now, in truth, there's going to be an overlap, because obviously to do hypnotherapy, it kind of helps if you hypnotise people. So we will, during the course of today, teach you how to hypnotise people. It's just that it will be in a more conventional hypnotherapy manner, whereas tomorrow you'll learn how to do it in a more dramatic, throw people on the floor or make them look like blacked out, more entertaining manner. Both of those can cross over, because obviously if down the line you decide to get on a local TV show or something to plug your hypnotherapy practice, it's going to look far more entertaining and be remembered by people watching if you do something that is more dramatic, like going up and suddenly the person looks like they're blacked out. So they do cross-relate. The DVDs I've given you, don't worry about them now, the point is I've given them you so you've got them. You have literally got the 20 hours of video footage that will teach you everything we covered this weekend and more. So you've got the backup notes, so don't be worried, oh, am I going to forget that? What can I do? You've literally got it there. When I talk about advertising templates, because that's going to be a very important part today, the vast majority of them, you've actually got templates on there, i.e. examples that I've been using and other people have been using, that you can just go, put your own name in, put your own contact number, put your own website address on, and off you go, you're in business as it were. So that's where we're going to start, not on how to hypnotise people. The hypnosis bit is the easiest bit. Whether it's on stage, whether it's socially, whether it's for hypnotherapy, that is the easiest bit, as long as everything else has been set up correctly. Now, by that I mean, you could be the best hypnotist on the planet, but if nobody knows it, you're not going to get any clients, you're not going to make any money. So the advertising part is arguably more important than anything for two reasons. A, you get the clients so you can make money, and secondly, because if you do the advertising and the marketing right, by the time the person is sat with you, physically in person, a good 90% of the job will already have been done for you. I will warn you before the morning break, some of this we go through, you're going to think, well, the marketing stuff I'm sure makes sense to a lot of you, but certain things I say, you're probably going to think, what the fuck? And that's fine. I'm not doing it as a shock tactic, it's just that I'm going to be brutally honest with you in how I personally, for the past 21 years, have been making money doing this. Now, some of you may find out, those that have show of hands, that anyone who's, whether it's through books, DVDs, training or whatever, had any sort of insight into hypnotherapy before. Okay, so about half of the room. For those that have had an insight before, it may contradict what you've been taught before. It may make you feel, even the people who haven't got a background in it, may make you feel, that doesn't sound very ethical. Well, let's get one thing right. My view on ethics where hypnotherapy is concerned is, if a client comes to you and says, I want to stop smoking, let's say for example, and you tell them up front what it's going to cost, and they agree to that, and they come and they pay that money, and at the end of that time with you, they don't smoke again, then in my world, that's ethical. Because they knew what they came for, they got what they came for, and the fact that you might charge 10 times what other therapists in the area are charging doesn't mean you're ripping them off. The person had a choice of who to go to. And this is very important. If you get your yellow pages, or such similar local directory, and you ring round loads of hypnotherapists, and take smoking for example, and ask them all how much is it to stop smoking, you'll get quotes anywhere from, oh, it's £60 a session for 3 sessions, and then there'll be other people who go, it's 150 quid and I deal with it in 1 session. There'll be other people say it's 175 quid, there'll be people say it's 90 quid a session, but you need 2 sessions. You're going to get a huge variation. Now, in marketing any business, perceptively you've got competition. So, the first thing you need to do is eliminate the competition. I don't mean like get insurance. not quite that severe, okay? But you need to put yourself forward so you don't have competition. So my philosophy and experience is that find out what everyone else in your area is charging and then charge more. Straight off. Don't matter how long you've been doing this, charge more. I personally will not see anyone for less than 250 quid for therapy, which on average is about triple or quadruple what the average therapist charges. And if you choose to use the model that I'll be teaching you today, you'd be doing a similar thing. I also, because quite frankly, I get fed up, bored and pissed off hearing people moaning and going on about how shit their life is. I don't want to see people for 2 or 3 sessions. So I blatantly advertise the fact that it only takes 1 session to cure them. Although advertising standards authorities say you can't use the phrase cure. Oh, I have done. And then until somebody makes a complaint, and the advertising standards authority contact you, at which point you go, oh, sorry, and remove it from your advertising, at which point they don't take any further action. Until you get a complaint, you could just pretend you didn't know that and forget that I said it. So, because the word cure is a very powerful word in the context of what you're selling. So, you want to be selling at a price that's dearer than any other therapist in the area. So that, perception-wise, there must be, because people try and rationalise anything. And the question people will ask themselves is, why is that so bloody expensive? A lot of people do ring around or email loads of different people to get quotes. So you want them to start thinking, why is this dearer than all these other people? And there is only 2 logical reasons. Either A, you're a complete scam artist, or B, you must be bloody good at what you do if you can charge it. Which means they're immediately going into the frame of mind of, this person must be good, a good hypnotherapist. So they're already starting to brainwash themselves into the idea that if they were to invest into coming to see you, that you're good at what you do. And the moment they start thinking you must be good at what you do, they're already conditioning themselves that it's going to work. That sounds like such a simple thing, but believe me, that is so important. Next, lots of the people that will have rung or inquired with will have said it so. 1 session at such a price, maybe, in which case the fact you're dearer makes you look better. Or they'll have gone, it's 2 sessions, or it's 3 sessions. The fact that you go, it's 1 session. There are exceptions to that rule, as we'll cover as the day goes on, but for the vast majority of things where you make money, the fact that you are blatantly saying it's 1 session, admittedly you'll tell them that that session may be nearer to 90 minutes, whereas most therapists are 45 minutes to an hour. But because you're doing it in 1 session, that is a powerful suggestion in itself that you are confident in what you do and must be good at what you do because you can do it in one session. Well, that'll be why they charge so much. They're obviously better than these other therapists because they've clearly not got the confidence in themselves. That's why they've got to take 2 or 3 sessions. So that also is already brainwashing them, conditioning them into being in the right state of mind for them to work when they get there. Does this make sense? I know that sometimes I explain things in such a simplistic manner it sounds like I'm being patronising. And I apologise for that, but these ridiculously simple points are that simple. And unfortunately, the majority of people that train this stuff or write books on it won't admit how important this stuff is. This is more important than what you do when they get in the room.
Belief and expectation.
Yeah. Perceived value, belief, expectancy, probably it's already conditioning them. It's the reason why you can have 2 cars that are essentially practically identical. They might look different, but essentially they're made of the same components, they cost the same to make. But because this has got some badge or logo on the front with a perceived prestige and value, it can cost 10, 20 grand more. Why would anyone in the right mind pay? They're buying differently. It's the badge, the prestige, what they believe inside their head to be good. So, yes, you will lose clients by charging more, because there will be clients who just can't afford it. Or there will be clients who, for whatever weird reason, are not enough in that frame set of, if it's dearer, it must be better. But working on the numbers game, for the vast majority, the fact it's dearer will be a positive. So if they then do choose to go with you, yes, you'll have lost some, but those people will be more committed, and that's a very important word, more committed to the idea and belief of changing their life in some manner, whether that's stopping smoking, avoiding for certain foods to lose weight, whether it's curing a phobia. They'll make their mind up. And you shall see later, that is the real crux of this, them having made their mind up that now is the time for change. Because the day goes on and you'll see as hypnotherapists, it's a load of crap. There's no hypnotherapist on this planet that's ever stopped anyone smoking. Bollocks. There's no hypnotherapist on this planet that's ever helped someone lose weight or cure the phobia. Shite. All a hypnotherapist has ever done is create an environment, a perception, an expectation that creates a moment where the client who is making that investment of time and money gets into a psychological state of mind where they're open to the suggestion of change. If they truly wanted to change, they could have done it themselves. But why don't they? Because pretty much as human beings, the majority of people don't want to have to admit to themselves that it's all their fucking fault. Which ultimately it is. And the slight expectation on slight elements where that's slightly different. You know, I mean, if you get into serious therapy, you're going to get, you may encounter, for example, people who've been raped, who want to overcome the trauma. I'm not saying you tell them that was all their fucking fault. Although I have been known to tell rape victims it is all their fucking fault, that they're letting the world crumble down around them. It wasn't their fault what happened, but at the end of the day, and this is severe, but it is relevant to what I'm saying, there's people who get raped, when it happens they turn around and they decide to focus on helping other people who've gone through that, and they suddenly make such a massive success of their life and choose to use that as a trigger to push them forward. And there's other people from exactly the sort of same type of backgrounds, going through exactly the same kind of thing, that just give up. And they end up using that as an excuse for not doing things. That bit is their fucking fault. Ultimately, each human being has the choice in themselves to do something or not to do it. A therapist gives people an excuse to not have to blame themselves. By going through this ritual, this process, this thing of having to book a session, paying money, going through all the, what we'll cover later on, that's affirmation to them that this is something they couldn't have booked right themselves. They needed help. So that in itself makes them feel better about themselves because it's confirmation that there was nothing they could have done. They needed this help. The truth is, that's bollocks. But that's what you're selling, the excuse that it wasn't their fault, and the permission that it's all right now to change. That's what you're really selling. And the truth is they could do this themselves. But, thank God, they don't realise that, or rather they don't want to because they'd have to admit to themselves certain things, otherwise we won't have any clients. So, high perceived value, one session means you must be bloody good. The way you get the clients, so, I haven't actually, we haven't covered out to treat them yet. I say we haven't, but if you've been listening, you were facing this way, so I guess you were. We have actually already started throwing in how to treat them, because all this process is already doing the treatment on them before they come to you. You never tell them that, because otherwise obviously they might think, oh, perhaps I'm already on the way to being cured, and then you'd lose a client. You actually want to get them in. So, advertising wise. Trouble with advertising is that when you put an advert in a newspaper, for example, people are not thick. They know you paid for that. So you're obviously going to say you're good. On whatever level they compute this, the fact is you've clearly paid for that, so you would say you're good. So that actually isn't the best way of getting clients as such. Because you wouldn't say anything other than the fact you're good. The best way is when other people are saying you're good. Now unfortunately when you're starting out, that's a bit of a catch-22 because you've not seen any clients to be going around saying how good you are. So you need to overcome a few obstacles there, and that's what I'm going to tell you now. Now anything I say today obviously is purely for example purposes only. In no way, shape or form am I saying that this is exactly what I did years ago when I started out. Because obviously it would be wrong for me to tell you to do those things which may be slightly naughty if you looked at it in a certain manner. I would say that if it's with positive intent of helping the client, fuck the making money bit, no, it's not making money. But if it's with a positive intent of helping the client and it helps them get the result they want, and they were happy to pay that price to get it, then shouldn't we, as caring therapists, do everything in our power to make sure that it works for that client? So, you need ways around things. So, how do you get people to know about you? Well, the most cost-effective way is, ultimately, I'm just going to slightly flip over there, are leaflets. Did you bring it? Well, can you do me a favour? Can you give everyone one of these? Yeah. That way, when I'm referring to them, it doesn't... I was going to pick some up, and then I realised I actually gave them all back to me. So I didn't have any at all. It's much better that you see this physically in your hand. The leaflet you're about to get hold of goes against anything any other hypnotherapy training organisation will tell you to do or advise you to do. It will go against all their rules and you get thrown out of their winky wanky boys clubs. But there is no legal obligation to be in their winky wanky boys clubs. Pardon? Oh, you tosser. Yeah, I bet you won't renew it next year after what I'm going to be telling you. This is the kind of leaflet that if they found out you were using, you'd get chucked out of the winky wanky boys clubs. For starters, look at it. Nowhere on there does it say, nowhere on that leaflet does it say we're hypnotists, hypnotherapists. Nowhere. The reason being, some people are scared of the idea of seeing a hypnotist. So that is going to lose your clients. You want the phone to ring first. When that phone rings, you can find out what it is the client wants, or what it is they expect. Expect's the key word. Because if you can sell them what they expect, that which fits in with their own preconceived ideas, that itself, when they ask for more information, the information they get is what they were thinking, they feel good about themselves, and because it's you that made them feel good about themselves, they feel good about you, which brings in this thing called rapport that they talk about in therapy. So they're more likely to accept the idea that you can help them make that change. So if when they ring up, they go, looking at the leaflet you've got in front of you, they go, oh yeah, I'm calling about this proven weight loss system. Is it to do with herbs and all this? And obviously you would ask them, oh, why, is that something that you were looking at? If they say yes, you tell them that yes, it has an element of that. If they say no, you go, well, actually no, you'll be glad to hear it. You sell them what it is they want. It's a big mistake people make. And don't worry, we will show you how to conduct a hypnotherapy session in a manner whereby you haven't apparently ever hypnotised them, for those people that don't want to be hypnotised. But there will be other people who ring up and go, oh, I've seen that Paul McKenna on the telly, or I've heard about this virtual gastric band thing. Is it that? Oh, yes it is. And you know, if they turn around and say, is it this new celery bloody treatment? I've heard something about celery treatment where you have to eat so much celery, but you've got to be shown how to do it. And if they ask that, you go, yes it is. Well, that's an element of it. Well, that's the key phrase. That's an element of it. Because obviously you're going to do other things that have actually got more therapeutic value. But you sell them what they want. Because people are, well, you don't actually, therefore you're not selling it them. You're providing them with what they want. And people always feel better when they're getting given what they want rather than being sold something they don't feel they need. So immediately they're going to feel better about the whole process, and they're going to feel better about you, so they're more likely to pay that sizable fee, for starters, and to buy into the fact that you're the person who can help them, because clearly what they were thinking was right. So there is no mention of the word hypnotist on there. Number one. Number two, from experience, the most money to be made from this, if you're looking at it as a business, is with stopping people smoking, helping them lose weight, curing phobias, things related to pain control, and then things related to confidence issues. Now, confidence could be anything from pass your driving test or pass your exams to overcoming stage fright or public speaking. There's a huge... So they are the only things that are actually mentioned on the leaflet. Also, psychologically, this could almost be different companies that are advertising. Alright, there's only one set of contact details, but it could almost be like this is a clinic that offers different things. You know, like natural health clinics do, like they do here. There's a reflexologist, an acupuncturist, there's hypnotherapists, so they can choose in their head, oh, the weight loss, that might have something to do with acupuncture. Oh, the phobias, that must be... It's left open for them to fit it to whatever their belief system reality is. Next, this leaflet needs to get into their hands. That's point one. So how the hell are you going to get these into their hands? Well, let's look at cost here first. These leaflets, you're going to need a designer, obviously, to design your leaflet, which is going to cost, I don't know, we have got a graphic designer in the room, but he's going to be a little bit biased. So if anyone who's previously been in business, what would you guess that a graphic designer starting from scratch would charge you to do a uniquely individual to you leaflet? Including the design?
You get 45 minutes free if you first design.
I think it takes longer than 45 minutes to do something like that. Well, Yeah, it doesn't matter if we go with that figure. Unfortunately, the person who does your design is not a hypnotist. Never use a graphic designer to get stuff designed for your business unless they know your business. That tip's worth more than being it. If you're going to go into selling cars, don't go to a graphic designer to get your leaflets done unless they've got knowledge of car sales. If you're going to sell clothing, it doesn't matter what it is, don't go to a graphic designer that doesn't know your business because they don't know what you're selling. And it doesn't matter what you tell them, artistic types, that's the problem, are all about making something look a certain way, not on what result it's going to produce. The key is it's got to be down to getting people to pick up that phone. So, well, we'll go with the 200 quid figure because it's ironically reasonably close to where we're going with it. Except to get a copywriter who will actually write you something. It's going to sound like a sales pitch to me, but let's put it this way. And then you'll see whether psychological getting them to actually be in the right state of mind comes in. To get a copywriter to write you that will cost you more than the 200 quid, guaranteed, if they have an insight into being a hypnotist. So go online and check out copywriters that are also successful, that's the key word, successful, actually making money, hypnotists. You can check them actually, you know, because yeah, they might be a hypnotist, but if they're not getting lots of clients, it's not really going to work for you either, is it? This leaflet is designed in such a manner to piss people off. Forget whatever you've learned about marketing in the past. Selling somebody a psychological solution, because that's what you're selling, something that's invisible. Okay? It's totally different than selling anything else. Because the person who wants to stop smoking, who truly wants to stop, the person who's got a chance of stopping, every time they smoke, is somewhere in their head thinking, I wish I could stop. The person who genuinely, sincerely wants to lose weight and needs that excuse for permission to make changes in their lives so they can grow, so they don't have to beat themselves up and go, well, why didn't I just stop eating that before? Every time they eat that forbidden biscuit or cake or whatever, is on some level reinforcing in their head, I'm fucking myself up. So they're doing something that to them is causing a negative, which is making them feel worse every time they do it. So the best way to get them to the point where they decide now is the time to change is to really, really upset them. Hence, the last thing someone who wants to lose weight wants to hear is, you fatty. They don't want to hear that. They don't. They really don't, because that in itself is painful. So, but you're not there verbally, that's why it's got being fat. Want to be proud of the person you see in the mirror? In other words, you're a useless waste of bloody space. Every time you look in the mirror, I want you to remember what a fatty you are. Tired of useless diets that don't work? Let's translate that psychologically. That'll have the effect of everything I'm doing is not working. And the moment they believe that suggestion, guess what? Anything else they try isn't going to work. Diet-wise. Want to be the slim, sexy envy of all who know you? Of course they do. Especially women. Right? And find out more about proven. Proven. That's the key word, proven. It doesn't say how it's proven, but that's irrelevant. It's already gone in. Because when you piss somebody off, psychologically, their conscious mind is already distracted. Which means, whatever is said to them, or they read, or experience in their head as self-talk, goes straight past the critical faculty of the brain, this will make more sense when we get onto the hypnosis app, and goes straight in here, which is the part of them that is currently saying to them, have another cake, or have another cigarette, or oh dear, when you see the spider you're scared. So it's gone straight in there, and it's ramping this pain up. Thus meaning, you've just made that, like, the majority of people who are trying to lose weight, if they read that, I promise you, they will find it harder to make a diet work. I promise you they will feel bad about themselves. That is what you want them to do. Because you want to provoke action. Yes, hence, a hippo. It's a non-verbal, but basically you're saying they're a fat hippo, and every time they look in the mirror, that's what they're going to say. That's what you will. And you will, on some level, that is what they will feel.
Yeah, I'm going to move like look at the mirror thickness.
Yeah, you will. But when they're in that moment, they will really want the solution. And therefore they're far more likely to ring up. That's why it is. Smoking. You can say to somebody, oh, why don't you just stop smoking? You know, it kills people. That's logic, consciously. But the critical faculty is there and it stops that going in, and the back of the bit at the back, unconscious, is going, yeah, I know that, but I want to find. It's conditioned response to habit. You've got to overcome that. Which is where the therapy session comes in, obviously, but before you get them there, you already want this process happening. Hence, and it is subliminal, but if you look at the letter O and the letter D's, and open it ever so slightly away and look carefully, you'll actually see that those are skulls. They're purposely not as clear as the skull in the cigarette, but they are actually skulls. So at an unconscious level, it's picking it up. Do you want to die before your loved ones? It's not about the stop smoking bit. You're going to die. No, make it personal to them. Everyone knows that logic. However, before your loved ones, everyone's got somebody there with, whether it's the kids, the somebody. So you've got to attach it to something that's got an emotional trigger for them. This sounds like I'm talking about this leaflet a lot, but if you take everything I'm saying here about this leaflet, you'll see it applies when we get the client sat next to us in how you actually do your 45 minutes to an hour and a half session. It is exactly the same thing. It just becomes more believable to them because you're then sat in front of them as a physical person. But you're already starting the job so that when they get to you, they're in the right state of mind. Fed up being a drug addict. Smokers don't tend to think of themselves as a drug addict, but most people do think of drug addicts as being something negative and bad. So you've immediately labelled them in a way that makes them feel bad. Again, this may only be going on in the mind. I'm trying to verbalise thought processes that take seconds, but this is putting stuff into their head. This is hypnotising them arguably. One morning out there, your wildest dreams come true. Everyone's got some sort of dream. That will conjure up a positive. Yes, I want that. And because of the context it's conjured up, well, obviously the solution's to stop smoking. I've tried before, it didn't work. Oh, perhaps I should give these a ring. This is the state of mind you've got to get them into. People with a phobia, they may, to them it's totally rational, even if it is irrational, and some people will accept it's irrational, but at the end of the day, that's how I react when I see whatever. They don't like people laughing at them. Nobody does, as a rule. You know, if you go, oh, you're scared of clowns, why is that? It's amazingly a big phobia, that, the number of people who are scared of clowns. I'm not on about just kids. There is a niche market in curing clown phobias. Trust me, there is, but that's a totally different story for later. Does your fear or phobia hold you back in life? For some people that will apply, some it won't. If you had a clown phobia, let's be honest, you just avoid the circus. Okay? Certain phobias are easily avoided, others are not so easy, you know, like large crowds or something. That could make the difference between what job you accept because of the workplace and what you don't. It could have a truly life-changing effect. So it's likely it's going to touch on something relevant. But just in case it doesn't, because everyone is different. Do you get scared of things that others just laugh at? Anyone with a phobia generally will feel a bit daft about it. So you're ramping the pain up again. You're essentially saying you're the odd one out. But you're doing it in a manner where they'll come to that decision themselves. which is what you need them to do, because it is down to them. Any change they make or don't make is down to them, really. You're just going to put on a pantomime that creates the environment where they can feel that it's outside of their control and they needed you. Wish you could truly feel free and fully in control at all times. Well, yeah, obviously anyone with a phobia, you ask them, would you ever going to say, I suddenly feel, whether they say panicked, sweaty, whatever, there's something that's suddenly out of their control. So you're touching on, it's almost like you're reading their mind. Because you're saying that, at least one of them is saying that to them, which is already crossed their head. So they're going to go, oh, that's me. That's stage one. When they say that's me to themselves, when they go, oh, this is the solution. So that then when they pick up the phone, and that is the key bit here, then picking up the phone, or, because of the day and age we're living, sending an email. That's the stage that you've got to get to. So, and ideally on the basis that it's the business where you're going to make more money than it's cost you to get the client, otherwise it's a bit pointless. So, let's imagine, and you're not going to get 10,000 of them for 200 quid. Well, you can quite happily have 10,000 of these for 200 quid if you want. What they want with this quality things, there'll be 130 GSM. If you want 250 GSM, and frankly, I wouldn't use anything less, because the most leaflets that come through doors are 120, 130. Sometimes even with takeaways it can be as low as 80 GSM. People unconsciously can feel the difference. If you get a load of leaflets through your door, most of them never get read, leaflets that go through doors. What tends to happen, and this is important, but this is what tends to happen, lots of leaflets get delivered together with other leaflets. I'm sure you don't get it every week or every few weeks, depending on what the rota is in your area. And they'll come through the door, you come out, you see them, and more often than not, well, this is what I do, I pick them up, I walk to the kitchen, I open the bin, and I go, crap, 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 crap. And the only reason I'm actually looking is just in case one of them's got like a big voucher on for 2 for the price of one at a pizza place, or somewhere that's actually of interest to me. Because otherwise the rest is going in. I already know I don't want people glazing, I already know I don't need the house into the bin they go. The only way that they're not going to go in the bin, for the vast majority of people, and I've asked people, and this pretty much applies to everyone I've spoken, is if they see something that jumps out at them that's relevant to them. So it is a numbers game. But the chances are, in most households, there is either somebody who smokes, who wants to stop, more likely there's somebody who wants to lose weight. Doesn't mean they're fat or overweight. Sadly, the vast majority of women are not overweight, but they think they are, and that's the more important thing. They think they are, so you need to help with them. You're just going to be helping them feel better about themselves. And I'm being a bit sexist, where there's men like that as well. But numbers game, generalised, women are already more conditioned to spending money on making themselves feel good, hence the success of nail bars and hairdressers, and that is your target market. Okay? So the chances are one of these will be relevant to people. If it's in an area where there's older people, the chances are they've got arthritis pain. So it needs to stand out, hence the imaging, hence the most, if you took that to a graphic designer that doesn't know anything about hypnosis and said, that's the kind of message I want to portray, do your own version, I promise you what you'll get will look nothing like that at the end, because the graphic designer would say that is the biggest pile of crap they've ever seen. Because it doesn't fit in with what they're taught as graphic designers. It's got mishmash of fonts. Oh no, graphic design is all going to be uniform and stuff. It just breaks all the rules of graphic design that we get taught. Now, I'm not a graphic designer, but I can tell you that for a fact. We've got an award-winning graphic designer and Photoshop artist in the room, who also happens to be a professional hypnotist. And he was like, can I design this? Not in the graphic design stage. I drew it and I said, that's what it's going to look like. And he went, okay. He did it, he said, it's wrong. I said, it might look wrong, because you're thinking as a graphic designer. What you've got to think is about manipulating the people's heads. That's why you go for the thicker stocks, because it's going to be thicker than the shiny takeaway leaflet. It's going to be thicker than the 4-page double glazing, latest news, conservatories cheap this month, which is practically like as thin as newspaper most of them. So there's a perceived quality. So, in truth, what it's going to cost you, for 5,000 of them, and these are the maths we're going to work on, and by all means, at the end of this, before we go for a break, we're a bit off yet, but at the end of this, you're going to think, well, that was just a sales pitch for Leaflet. No, it wasn't. Remember the points. With all of these psychological points, you can go away and get your own leaflet design by all means, but remember the messages, the reasoning behind it. And even if you don't bother going down the leaflet route, remember the reasoning behind it, because those psychological ploys are what are going to be so important when we've got the client sat in front of us. All of this does cross-relate. The jigsaw will piece together during the day, I promise you. But let's just imagine we're getting 5,000 of these, this quality. By all means, please go away, search on the internet, contact all your local printers, and see what the cheapest is you can get. 5,250 GSM delivered to your door, so you don't have to go and get them. And I tell you now, you're not going to find them less than 150 quid. But by all means, look. But if you were paying 200 quid including the graphic design, you then also need these delivered. Because otherwise you're going to have to go and stick them in newsagents, windows, £1 a week. You're going to have to stick them in hairdressers, nail bars, these places where they have fish stuck in the feet. Basically, if your target market is largely women, you will get male clients, but they'll tend to have been referred or told about the services by the women. Your major target market is women. Sounds sexist, but they're already used to spending money on making themselves feel better in some way. Hence nail bars, hence fish stucky, whatever they call it. Those, anyway, you know what I mean? I've seen them on TV. So you need them out, and you don't want to, let's be honest. Maybe you do, but I certainly don't want to be going door to door going, So, I can only talk about this area, because obviously this is the area where we do this, and I've been doing it for years. But round here it costs £26.50 plus VAT per 1,000 leaflets to have them delivered. So, 5,000 of them. 265, 265, 245, 30. It's fucking just fleety of maths. It's easy. 369 times 369 times 150. We'll round it up to allow for those other bits. It's about 160 quid to have them all delivered. So that will cost you the grand total of 360 quid. For that comparable 360 quid, you would be lucky to get an advert about that size with some negotiating. You might get an ad, I know certainly around here in our local paper, to get that in sort of the Rochdale Observer, Avon Advertiser, Middleton Guardian, the Express, Rosendale, whatever the hell it's called, the 6 paper, they're all part of one group anyway. To get an ad that size, put in all 6 of them for a week. By the time you pay that, you're going to be paying practically as much as what it's going to cost you for 5,000 leaflets not been delivered. And here's the sad truth. Adverts in newspapers don't work. You might be lucky, you might get 1 or 2 calls, and if you get 2 calls and you convert them, and you charge them 250 quid, that's 500 quid. And you pay your room hire for your therapy rooms, let's say that costs you another 40 quid. So yeah, you made £100. But, so you made £100 and you've seen 2 clients, an hour and a half of time, it's 3 hours. 3 hours work for 100 quid. Some people would say that's good, I say shit. So, you have 5,000 leaflets delivered, bearing in mind that there's nothing on this planet, no way of advertising that is going to get you a response off everybody. There isn't. So, don't fall into the trap of seeing some advertised online. Oh, this system is guaranteed to get you bollocks. The industry standard for leaflets, and you can contact any leaflet distribution company, they'll tell you the same. If they don't, they're lying to you. If they tell you that the standard response rate for leaflets is 5 or 10%, bollocks. Don't touch with a barge pole. They're just trying to take the money off you to get them delivered. If they tell you the truth, which is it can be anywhere from 0.5% to 2%, depending on how well the leaflet's designed, depending on what quality it is, depending on what area you get it delivered to, which is more relevant for certain businesses than others, and depending on how relevant it is to the person whose doormat it falls on at that time. That's why it's a numbers game. You know, this week they may be interested in stopping smoking, whereas a few weeks earlier they definitely weren't, because there was so much shit going on in life, they were that stressed. It's the last thing they'd ever consider. It is literally, a lot of it is down to luck. I can tell you now that that leaflet does produce, or at least it does for us, more than a 2% success rate. Because despite the fact that the guy who runs the local leaflet delivery company said that that leaflet wouldn't work because it just screams it's wrong because they're thinking like a graphic designer rather than fine if you were selling windows and conservatories, you want some uniform, you're not. You're selling something to do that's personal, emotional, individual to the human being. It's a completely different thing. And that's what you've got to, when you get your head in that frame of mind, A, you'll be able to get more clients, but B, you'll be able to treat them easier because you'll be coming from the right angle to manipulate them. But let's just, I can tell you now it gets more than a 2% response, but let's go with 0.5%. Which frankly, any leaflet company will tell you that if you didn't get 0.5% in terms of numbers of phone calls, that there's either A, something wrong with your leaflet, or B, they didn't get delivered. So it's very important to find a company that's got good testimonials, if they're, stuff's getting delivered. So find out who, if you get annoyed by leaflets coming through your door, find out who it is who's bloody delivering them. Because you know at least they're getting delivered to people's doors. That's right. But bearing that in mind, 5,000 go out, and these will all go out in the space of, a day or two with these companies, because they've got big teams. 5,000 go out, 10% of that's 500, 1% is 50, 0.5% is 25. And that would be a shit response rate. Even if you had them printed on crappy paper, and it looked like even if you just took a piece of A5 paper and wrote on it, black marker pen, want to stop smoking, call this number, had them photocopied, ripped the A4s in half so it was jagged paper, and it looked like some amateurish attempt at advertising. If 5,000 of them were delivered, I still expect you to get higher than 0.5% response rate. Because it's either going to fall on the doormat for someone who wants to stop smoking or not. But obviously you want the law of averages in your favour. That quality leaflet, whatever. But let's say you just get 25 phone calls, which would be a shit response rate. You now need to convert those people that are on the phone into partnering money. That's the next stage I think we'll come to very shortly. But the fact that they picked up the phone means they have taken that first step. They've read it, and it will have ramped up the pain in some way because of the way it's structured. So they're already in the right frame of mind. They're ringed up. That's like accepting in their own mind, now I need to do something about this. Perhaps this is the solution. They're starting to brainwash themselves. This could be the solution. You now, when they ring, have just got to not convince them, but prove to them that they're correct. People like to be proved right, it makes them feel good. Prove to them that this is indeed the solution, like they thought it might be, and that they did the right thing by picking up the phone and calling. If you do that, then price becomes almost immaterial. People, if you could guarantee to a manic depressive that they could be happy for the rest of their life, they'd sell their fucking house. When it comes to emotions and personal, internal things, price isn't the issue. They use price as an excuse to try and avoid taking that next step. So you've got to make it as comfortable for them as possible to take that next step, because that is already starting the therapeutic process before they get to it. The change is already starting because they're already in their head accepting that on a certain day, when they go for this session with the therapist, that's the day their life changes. Does this all make sense? This is so important. So you get 25 phone calls, even if you're crap, or frankly if you use the system that I'm going to teach you, you should be able to convert practically all of them. I say practically because there's no system on this planet that converts everybody, simple as. However, let's just say you only converted half, which is 12.5, so we'll round it down to 12, so I'm using low figures all the time. And you take 250 quid off them, which, if you use the marketing plan, I'll show you would be doing. That's 3 grand income. You have spent out, what was it? 360 quid. £2,640 is clear at the moment, because obviously you're going to get another load of leaflets done, another set delivered. From that 2,640 quid load, obviously you're going to see 12 clients. Now don't go spending money on offices that cost you a fortune, because that's a commitment you don't need. I believe it's always better only pay out money in a business as little as possible. And ideally only when it's making you money, because that way cash flow remains good and less stress for you, which means if you're not stressed, you're going to seem far more relaxed with your clients, which means you're going to be a better therapist, aren't you? You know? So 12 people, let's say it's an average of an hour and a half each, okay? It costs me here when I hire a therapy room, with the couches in and all this, that and the other, it costs me, if I'm just doing a one-off, it costs £10 an hour. So it's 15 quid for an hour and a half. If I've got more than one client in a day, well, if I book in 2 or 3 in a day, it becomes cheaper. But let's just take it at 10 quid an hour. So 12 of them by 90 minutes is basically 18 hours. At a tenner, it's 180 quid. Let's say you're not fortunate enough to have somewhere like this around you. So you have to go and use something like a serviced office. You know, you hire by the hour serviced office. They will tend to be more like 20 quid an hour, in fairness. So let's double it, just for the sake of this example, and make that into 360 quid expense. If you use the system I'm going to teach you, you're going to book those 12 clients in, not only one day, but you're going to book in 4 a day over 3 days. So you've only got travelling on 3 days. Even if you were to, I don't know, let's throw it out there. We're living in Rochdale at the moment, I am. But let's say I'd had some leaflets delivered in London, and it said that I had a Harley Street clinic, which incidentally you can get for £20 an hour, but that's another trip. I'd have to get the train up to London and stop for 2 nights, and I could come back then. So you could have another couple of £100 for hotel, yeah, and food. So let's, I don't know, let's have another 340 quid on. which will be like 700 quid expenses, which if we knock that off there, would still be £1,960 profit for 3 days' work. Now, that's the kind of figure I get out of bed for. And I'm sure everyone in the room would be reasonably happy to do so as well. And it's been self-financing because you don't need to hire a room until you've got the clients. You don't need to travel to London, in that example we used there, or wherever your office is, until you've got the clients. Your only expense is the 5,000 leaflets and getting them delivered initially. And you go, well, that's all good, what if the client doesn't show up? We'll come to that very shortly. The thing is, you're going to take 50% of the money off them, using the model that I'm going to teach you, before they even get to your office. So you'll have 125 quid off them before they even come and see you. So you're not going to have a problem, number one, going and ordering another 5,000 leaflets and getting them delivered to some other area. That's a big mistake people make in business. Clients coming in, don't need to advertise now, wait till it's quiet. No, when you're busy is when you advertise more, so that you do genuinely end up with a waiting list, and you have to say to people, I can't book you in for a few weeks. So you've got continual business. A lot of people go, well, clients are coming in, leaflets work really well. Oh, I'll wait until it dies off. And then it takes them a week to get the leaflets delivered, and then they've got to give them to leaflet delivery company when they've been printed, and by the time they get the phone calls and the conversions, it's like 4 weeks till they have no plan. No, you continually work. Once you've got a system, you work it. Especially when it's self-financing. After your first investment. Your first set of leaflets, obviously you need to get them delivered, but essentially after that, if you've already got a telephone line, it's pretty much self-financing because you can hire your room when you need it. And on this example, we're doing it on the basis of a tiny response rate, on the basis of you spending out more money than you probably would be, because initially you're probably just going to go with somewhere in your local area and not have to travel to London or whatever. But even then, I think most people would be happy pulling that. So, and here's the good news. By all means, go away and get your own leaflets designed. But here's the really good news. If you do decide to go, i.e. license this leaflet, so it's got your number on, your website address, but it is this proven leaflet that ties into the system I'll be teaching you, then your original investment is going to be 200 quid, for which you will get 5,000 of them, of this quality, delivered to your front door by courier, within 14 days of having made the payments. It can actually be altered to your website address and telephone number. You'll get your own leaflet delivery company in your area, or for certain areas we do have a rough idea which ones are the reliable ones. But once you've done your first lot, and your clients are coming in, and obviously you then want to do it again, all it costs you after that is £150 every time you get 5,000 of them. So your costs are reduced, thus meaning your profits go up. That's how you get them to ring. So they've rung up, which means they've psychologically made an acceptance of change, or you've ramped it up, all the things we spoke about. They now ring up. You now need to convert them into part of your money. Another big mistake businesses make is overselling, trying too hard to close a sale, because then you can come across as being desperate. If you're really good at what you do, you've got nothing to prove. That would be the reality in life. So you've got to perceptively appear that way, that you're that busy and that good that it's a privilege, it'll be a privilege for them, they'll be lucky to be able to fit into your diary. So however much, when your leaflets go out, and if you're starting from scratch, when those go out and the phone starts ringing, can you fit me in this week? No, you fucking well can't. Because if you could, that means you're crap. You're busy, you're good at what you do. No, you can't fit them in straight away, as much as you want. You're thinking, money, money, money. Not at this stage. That's later down the marketing plan. At this stage, you have always got a waiting list. Now, at some point, that's going to be genuine. In which case, you're going to have to go look at this 2, 3 weeks, whatever. But initially, 7 to 10 days. To give it some credibility that you've got people booked in. Yeah, make the noise with the diary. No, I thought I had a gap then. Sorry, no, somebody booked. You can't get into a week on Thursday. Because you've got to keep up this, you're good. Because it's got to tie in with that fact when you come to the price. Otherwise it sort of becomes a bit contradictory. So because it's a high price item, they will either, and they don't know that off the leaflet. They might have an idea, quality. People are willing to ask the price. When they do, I say, we'll come to that afterwards. Well, what's more important is, have you definitely decided now is the time for you to change your life for the better? Now, in NLP or hypnosis language, that's called an embedded command. Sounds like you're asking them a question, but actually, have you decided that now is the time for you to change your life for the better? You're giving them a command, now is the time for you to change your life for the better. You're already doing the work on them, getting them into that state of mind. And they're either going to go, yes or no. But the truth of the matter is most of them are going to say yes, otherwise they wouldn't have rung in the first place, given the nature of the leaflet and the fact that it'll have pissed them off in the red. It's designed that way not just to get your clients, but also to filter out the time wasters who aren't ready to make the change. Because you want people, by the time they get in front of you, to have done most of the work, for it to work, because the more success you have with these people, the more unpaid salespeople you've got going out there saying how good you are, that'll bring you other clients as well. So it does all cross the way. So your main areas are smoking, weight loss, confidence, phobias and pain control. In truth, for pain control, I do actually charge this. I only charge 125 to 150 quid. But there again, I only spend about 45 minutes with them. See later on. Can I just teach them some techniques they can use on themselves when they feel their arthritis playing up or whatever? It's a little bit different than giving them a permanent cure. It's giving them some tools, teaching them a bit. So I charge them that. But for smoking, for weight loss, for phobias, for confidence issues, where there's a mega emotional benefit, because they'll save money by not smoking, they'll feel better about themselves by losing the weight. In their head, it could be that when I've lost a certain amount of weight, I'll actually feel good enough about myself that I will book myself up for that promotion or apply for that job. I mean, there's so many knock-on effects. That's why you can't underestimate the value of the benefits you're offering to them. And that's the key. You're not selling them an hour and a half of your time. You're selling them a life change that is beyond words. Because of the potential knock-on effects it could have for them. So you blatantly tell them what it's going to cost. If it's smoking weight loss, I say, well actually for weight loss, to be honest, if because they'll say, what's the proven system? If they happen to say, is it gastric band? We go, guess what we say? Oh yes, it's the hypnotic gastric band, like you've seen on TV. That's exactly what it is. Now at which point, I'm not going to be charging them 250 quid for one session. I'm going to be seeing them 4 times, and in total it's going to cost them the best part of 500 quid, but each session is going to be shorter. So in truth, I've only seen them for about the length of 2 full normal sessions, and I've still got the same amount of money out of them as 2 normal sessions. It's just that when we cover gastric band later in the process for doing it, there's certain legal requirements to doing it due to your care and stuff that means it has to be done over 4 sessions. Plus, that will tie in with what they've seen on the TV shows and in the women's magazines. That's what they expect it to be. So once again, you're making them feel good because it is what they expected. Anyway, you tell them the price, you don't hesitate. They're either immediately going to go yes, or more often than not, you'll hear if it's on the phone, you'll hear or some such similar indicator that, damn, that's expensive. It's a shock to the system. To which I tend to immediately respond, when there's, or it's a silence for a few seconds, I'll respond with the, which I'm sure you'll agree, is a minimal investment. Investment is a good word. Well, positive, you make it to that. A minimal investment into your life. So when you make it specific, so if it's weight loss, so minimal investment. I'm sure you'll agree, it's better than paying £3,500 to £5,000 for a dangerous surgical procedure. When this is non-invasive, it's been proven to be as effective, and you just save yourself £3,000. That totally reframes it, as they call it in NLP. With smoking, £250. As I'm sure you'll agree, that's a minimal investment, given that you said you smoke 20 a day, so in truth, you know, in about 6 to 8 weeks, you'll have already saved the cost, let alone the health benefits to you. You'll already have got that money back, and for the rest of your life, you save money, several £1,000s a year. Reframing. I've given you a couple of examples there. Each issue you do differently, but the key is to make it context-specific, personal to them, so they feel a benefit. Actually, I'm saving money. It no longer becomes about paying 250 quid, it's what they're saving. Well, I'll be daft. People don't want to lose out then. It's the mentality of where we're wide up. It's not, I've got to pay out 250 quid. It's, I'm going to save £3,000 this way. People want that. That's why people get addicted to scratch cards. They're spending money to gain something, and that's the frames that you want to put them in. This again goes against a lot of conventional wisdom in sales talks. But it works. Prove it to yourself. I won't give you any more examples of that, because you can either A, I'm pretty certain work them out based on those examples, or B, jog your memory with the disc that I've given you. So you're going to reframe it so the price isn't an issue. So we'll just take the example of smoking for now. The structure is essentially the same for weight loss, for confidence, for phobias, but I'm just using smoking as one example. Use your common sense. Or be lazy and look at the disc I've given you, where I've literally done example sales letters for all 4 areas. Okay? So they've either immediately agreed, or they've gone, and you reframe it. They're now either going to book or not. And this is where most therapists, and most fuck up, basically. Because a percentage of them are immediately going to book when you've reframed it right, in the way I've just explained, in which case that equals money for you. Or they're going to go, I need to think about this, or oh, I need to save up, let me get back to it. They'll come up with some barrier to buying. But the fact that we're on the phone in the first place means they are in a position where you can turn around. But people are generally scared of selling. And also, I said before, you don't want to look like you're overselling because you're that good. So if that occurs, you turn around and you go, I'll tell you what, wait a minute, can I just take your name and address? I'm going to send you a free audio CD, free of charge. It'll explain a bit more about what we do. And also it's got a relaxation session on there, which you can listen to, share with your friends. We normally sell these on the website for 47 quid, but as you've rung up and we've got promotion going on, would you like to send you your free CD? Everyone says yes, it's free. We've just said it's got a relaxation positive thing on that it's normally worth 47 quid, and you're going to send it them free because they're lucky enough that you've got this promotion going on. Look, I've won something type thing. It's the emotions you're triggering off. This is what it's all about. Although I may be talking about marketing in business here, the underlying lesson also is manipulating people's emotional reactions to things, which is what therapy bloody well is. Okay? So this is actually relevant to where we're going with all this. So they say yes, so you take their name and address. So you're now building up a database. And what you're going to do with this is you are going to, over here you've already parted with money. The booking, timing, and you say, would you like to pay your 50% deposit now via credit card or debit card? And whichever you take. You can do that through your likes of PayPal. If you sign up for a business PayPal account, it doesn't cost anything to sign up for, and you've just got to declare that it's business. You can actually now take, they've got a service where you can take credit card details on the phone and process them through your business PayPal account. You take a higher percentage, admittedly, than a proper merchant service, but it saves you that weeks and weeks of waiting for the bank to approve you for a merchant service. The point is you want 50% up front. We'll come back to that momentarily. But you'll have about 50% up front from some of them. Others, they were nearly there, but for whatever reason. So you make them feel good again, they've won something almost, they're getting something of value for free, and you're going to send them an audio CD, a leaflet, and I don't mean the leaflet you've got in your hand, because obviously they've already seen that, and a cover letter. This package to send out to these people, realistically, if you produce them at home yourself, and you buy the supplies off eBay from suggested people on there, your blank audio CDs are going to cost you somewhere in the region of about 7p each. You cover your budget in about 3p, so that's 10p. If you just print these as and when you need them on your computer, the total basically with stamp, because it's going to go as large as the whole lot, you're talking about 80p. It's going to cost you. And admittedly, some of these are not going to end up ever converting. Well, not at this level, but somewhere. And the ones that do, if you have to send out, if you get 25 phone calls, and we just laughingly say 12 pay straight away, 12 done, of those 12, 6 may convert at this point, 6 may not. But there's another stage with this, and that's another thing that most therapists don't do, which is what we'll come to in a minute. But they're going to get this audio CD, the script for which is on the disc I've given you. Well, it is for smoking, but there's outlines for the weight loss, the confidence, the focus. And do I need to point out the obvious? If they've inquired about smoking, you send them the smoking relevant disc. So throw that in, you make it relevant to what it is. The wording for the sales letter is on the discs that I've given you. So you can copy and paste it onto your own and take out my name, put in your own name and number, obviously. It's proven to convert. It gives them all the benefits, and that's the key, the benefits to why it would be such an intelligent decision for them to book that session. Also, because you'll have quoted them on the phone 250 quid, what you are going to do, because you want to knock these people over the edge, in that package will be a discount voucher that's valid for the next 14 days only, which gives them, it's up to you, I suggest £25 off at this stage. Again, it's that, well, I want something, I've got my disc, and it has got a relaxation session on there, it's got the wording for it, so they feel like they've got something. The sales blurb's in there, selling the benefits, and there's this voucher. It's like, and especially if you print it the way that the examples are on there, which is, it looks like a banknote, it looks like real money at first sight. It's just that rather than it having the Queen's face on, it's got yours. Which you'll see the example on there, it said Bank of Hypnosis on them. Cheesy, yes, but it works. They're like, I've got money. And the moment in their head they're thinking, I've got money, people don't want to feel like they've lost something. So they're more likely to want to, in their heads, convert this money to what it's there for, which means they're more likely to then part with the other 225 quid and more, especially if they're going to do it in the next 14 days. Now here's the clever bit. And you don't need landlines for this, you can always do it with mobiles and get personal numbers, I'll explain about that later. But the telephone number that goes on your leaflets, that's a personal number that. What it means is I can ring a code and decide that anyone who rings that number gets directed to my home phone. If I'm going out or going away on holiday, I can ring up, put a code in, and it will now, anyone who rings that number, divert to my mobile. So it follows me around. So it's like a virtual office, and these, the latest cost to get one of those personal numbers? It's free, isn't it?
It's free for me, yeah.
Yeah.
There are premium numbers, you know, gold numbers that you have to pay for,
but you don't need them, because at the end of the day, the only way they're going to be finding this is off your leaflet, so it doesn't matter about it being more memorable. They've got the fucking thing in front of them when they're in. That number's only on your leaflets. You have a different one, or a different mobile phone, number that goes on the sales letter that gets sent out at this stage. Because here you've already taken money off them, here you haven't. So, you want the people who ring up within the 14 days, you want a different mobile to ring, or you want a virtual service like Skype where you can have two different virtual numbers, but it will tell your mobile when the incoming calls come in, whether it's that virtual number or that virtual number. So you know when your mobile rings whether they're ringing having seen a leaflet or whether they're ringing because they have the 14-day offer. So you know immediately how to handle the phone call before you answer it, which puts you in the right state of mind to be able to convert them, because you know you're not going to be getting cross wires. So certain of them will ring up at that point. However, some of them won't. And obviously you log that because you've kept their names and addresses, and when they've rung and you've converted them to a client, you tick them off. So you know which still haven't parted with money, or which haven't rung, or which have rung back, but for whatever reason suddenly talk themselves out of parting with 225 quid again. In which case you'll leave it till the end of that 14-day offer time, obviously. You've got to gauge it somewhere. And perhaps maybe another 7 days. And then they'll get the next sales letter. This is where, how lucky for them, you've had a cancellation. I told you it was coming up. You've had a cancellation where somebody had already paid their 50% deposit, which is non-refundable. Thus meaning, lucky for them, they can have a session for 125 quid. As long as they contact you within, literally, it's time sensitive this, the next 7 days, because the session that's been cancelled isn't for like, and you say it's in a fortnight's time, you've literally got 2 that have been cancelled. It happens now and again. You know, there's one on a Tuesday, there's one on a Thursday. One's morning, one's afternoon, stroke evening time. Give me a bell. Now, needless to say, when they're ringing me, you go, which would suit you best? Tuesday or Thursday? So they've got to choose one of them. It's a double bind. You're not saying, do you want to book? You're saying, which one do you want to book? Because you know they've rung you for that purpose. And then when they do, you go, just out of interest, I can check the diary, which was it that you were hoping it to be, the morning or the afternoon, evening time? They'll tell you what time I do with book the session. And you flick through the diary, oh, you're in luck. You're in luck. It is actually the afternoon. I thought I was going to have to tell you it was the morning, but it's actually the, and you, oh, how lucky for them. And you book them in, because it's about converting them. So you've got, yes, you've got them for half the price, but the point is most therapists, they don't look at this as a business, or they do, but they never get taught it, or the value would have lost all these. But no, alright, we're going to take half the money, but that's why you start off at 250 quid. You get a large percentage go for that, but then you can convert some at this level to 225 quid, still worth having. You can convert them at the next level to 125 quid, but you're still going to end up with some that don't buy. So guess what we do now? We have sales letter C, which, after that 7-day period, goes out. The examples are on the disc. Look at them in your own time, because at some point today, after morning break, I actually have to teach you how to do the therapy when we show up. So you can look at the examples yourself. But we have sales letter C. And what that tells them is, but it's very nicely worded in there, our records show that unfortunately it would appear you've not availed yourself of the opportunity. All those discounts have now ended, so you're ramping up the loss. It's a great shame that it would appear that you've gone, it's not this wording, it's far better, but basically saying you're still killing yourself, oh, you're still a fatty. No. Not in those words, but it's ramping the pain up, like the leaflet does, but even more so. I almost feel guilty that you've not taken up help they offer. You know, I understand finances could be an issue, but I do want to help people. I feel guilty, Lord, you know what, the harm you could be doing to your body every day, and the time you're knocking off your life, so ramping the pain up. So, there's a few other people like you, so they don't feel odd one out. They do, but they don't feel you're victimising them then. A few people like yourself, I came up with a solution so that they could afford it, so they could make that move forward, the intelligent move in their life. And that was that because you all want to lose weight, and obviously it's relevant, or the letter goes out, we all want to stop smoking. I've organised a group stop smoking session at such and such a centre, so like here is True Serenity. We've got this happening twice. You know, it's happening on Tuesday evening at such a time, and it's happening on Sunday afternoon at such a time. And because you're all coming for the same thing, you can all be treated together. And because of that, we can offer you this for just £47. And you get your free backup CD. They would have done anyway on any level, but you get your free backup CD that normally sells for that price alone on the website, which you will do because you'll have it up there at that price. Hardly anyone's ever going to buy it at that price, but the point is the perception's there that if they check up it is. It's like you're almost giving it them away. A large amount will convert at this point. I will teach you later how you treat a room of 20 or 30 people at the same time, so that you can do this. So one will be telling you how to get the client, but also need to know how to do it. Well, ironically, you already know more about how to do it than you may at this moment realise, because all of this is relevant to what you're going to do in the room. So a large amount will have converted at that point. If they haven't converted at this point, you'd think, well, you won't have it. Because each time there's a sales letter, it's costing you maybe, well, the initial one about 80 pence per person, then after that it is just a letter. So it goes normal letter rate, so it's about 30p. But your return on investment is far greater. But at which point do you go, this person's clearly not having it? Well, I go at least one more stage. In sales, most people give up too early when they could have got the sale. Better to have some money out of them than now. If they don't go for the group session stage, and the next thing is, they'll get sales letter D. Oddly enough, sales letter D. The examples, exactly word for word, as I've used for years, are on the disc I've given you. Sales letter D essentially goes down the same line of, oh, you sad loser in life, you're continually getting fatter or you're dying quicker, you know, whatever's relevant. Not using those words, but that's what it's ramping up in their head. You may as well go and top yourself and kill yourself if you don't take this offer. It doesn't say that, obviously, ethically, but that's the kind of feeling. You're a total loser in life. If you can't invest into your future, the small price of £27 within the next 7 days, for which you will be sent the home treatment CD. It's the one that I'm going to get given free. Total cost to you, including the box to make, is like £1. The postage, another £1. So you can make 25 quid out of them, basically. And the treatment notes. Treatment notes, the examples are on the disc. It's an A4 double-sided sheet of paper that's got certain points on. That's it, which I'll tell you about later. It's relevant to the treatment. A certain percentage of people will part with that. That's for the physical CD. Now, I've only started doing this recently, because basically I was a bit computer illiterate. I'll be honest with you. And I've got friends who can show me what to do. But in that sales letter now, I also offer them the option all for just £14. And in smoking example, it would say less than the price of 3 packets of cigarettes. It's like a total fucking no-brainer. They can go to, you give them a certain website link where they can pay online. You're also given the option to pay through the polls for the physical one. You want to take every option. The easier you make it for them to pay, the more likely they are to. Where they can pay online and download this in MP3 format. Now, you think, is it really worth the ball ache? Well, okay. They rang up in the first place. They didn't book straight away. So you invested 80p in a letter that could potentially convert them to a £225 client. Nothing happened with that. So you send out another letter that realistically cost them around to about 50p to give them the chance to come to the group session. Cancellation, 50% off. That happens. So you invest another 50p for the group session with them. That doesn't work, it's going to be another 50p for getting into the home study or MP3. 80, 130, 180, £2.40 you've invested into that person. And the fact is, you might do that on quite a number of people. Let's say it's 10. So you've bunged in 24 quid. Worst case scenario is they go all the way through this process and only 2 of them, let's say, part of 14 quid. It's costing you. And it doesn't really cost you much other than sending letters out of time, which you'll be doing because other people, you're sending out letters who are at different stages of the process, and they're converting at a higher rate for you, so you were going to the post office anyway. So you may as well do it, because the response rate required is so low for you to hit break even that you are severely increasing your chances of how many you'd get at that stage, or that stage, or the stage before, the stage before, the stage before. Does that all make sense? We're going to have a break for 5 minutes, which normally takes 10 minutes. I'll see you back in the room in 15 minutes at 11:45. Brews around the toilets now.
Well, thank you for watching that video. I hope you're now starting to see, blimey, there's big potential here for making money, and there really is. That'll become even clearer when you check your inbox and you get your email link tomorrow telling you where to go to watch the second part of that video. Now, here's a couple of things. The chapter in my book, Confessions of a Hypnotist, called Make a Million from Hypnosis, goes into even more depth about the system that the video you've just been watching has started explaining to you. So what you may want to do, if you've not already done it, is download my book, free of charge, Confessions of a Hypnotist, which you can do down below. It was available on day 1 with the rapid inductions video, but if you've not watched them, there's also some Derren Brown mind ready type secrets, there's mind control secret videos down there, and there's insights into hypnotherapy. Have a look at them as well. The point is, keep an eye on your inbox. Tomorrow's going to be amazing, but more importantly than that, remember, I want to give 3 of you the chance to win $5,000 of video training, audio training, books, manuals, a complete step-by-step, life-changing business in a box that can be used for hypnotherapy, stage, street hypnosis, NLP, mind control, mentalism, or just generally improving your life. And all you've got to do to enter is put a comment in the box below this video saying why you feel you would benefit most from being one of those 3 people. Keep an eye on your inbox. I'll see you tomorrow.